Hi, this is Susan from Susan B Cards, and today I'm going to be using the Spellbinders Autumn Serenade 3D embossing folder. It's this very pretty folder. I think you can see it pretty well. It has a circle where you could put a sentiment and then leaves all around it, and I feel like for this time of year, this would be a pretty moon. I'm going to put some ground espresso archival ink. I only have this small ink pad. I don't use the brown archival that much. I usually use the black. So all I have is a small one, but I'm going to ink this folder and then I'm going to run it through. So I like to go a couple different ways with this. And get this dark brown in here. I'm using Distress Mica Media Heavystock paper, my favorite to use when I'm going to be using some inks and water, and I just want to be sure that the paper can hold up and not disintegrate, and this one is always good. So I'm just trying to line this up fairly straight. I don't want the moon to be too off. I could have used a bigger piece of paper too and just cut it down. I didn't think of that till right now. But I'm going to go ahead and run this through the Big Shot, and I'll be right back. I'll see what it looks like. Next, I am going to use some clear embossing powder on this. I'm going to see what sticks. I was going to use some of the embossing ink, but just hurry up and do this. This is just regular clear embossing powder that I keep in a large container. I usually use a spoon to apply it, but I misplaced a spoon, so I'm just pouring it on. The coverage isn't 100%, but that's okay. I'll use a marker later to color in the background. Next, I just heat emboss it off camera. So I have some of these Distress Mica Stains from Ranger by Tim Holtz, and I'm going to use some fall colors. I have Flickering Candle, Harvest Moon. Start with those, and I'm going to spray a little bit of water. What I'm hoping is that the areas that the embossing powder stuck to my paper and will act as a resist. I think I want the moon to be a lot of the yellow, but I do like the yellow. And then I'm going to add jack-o'-lantern. Of course, is an orange. And then, let's see, I have a couple colors I really like. I like this new Unraveled. And I have Burning Ember. So I'm just trying to spray a little bit of this and then spray more water on it. I do want to do get in a little bit of the darker colors too. So I have Holly Branch. Obviously these are mixes of Christmas shades and the Halloween, but to me they're good all year long. I just like the shimmer. So this holly is a little bit dark, so I'm going to try to move it around, and I'm going to spray this and dry this and then spray some more and see where we're at. But I just want to break up some of those big dots of color. So I'll be right back. I'm adding just a little bit of red. because I felt like some of the leaves were a little bit too faint. The other thing I just remembered is that if you heat the embossing folder too much, it will soak back into the paper. So I'm trying to avoid that, but I will probably end up coloring some of this background anyway, so it'll end up being okay. You know, it's just like a mix of things I'm doing here. Just a real mixed media. You can see how pretty that's starting to look. I think I could use a little bit, maybe I'll put some green up here. It's a holly branch again. Oh yeah, it's very dark, so I'm gonna go ahead and just spray it with that. So that moves around. It's a little bit darker than I wanted. I'm gonna pick some of it up because it's starting to look a little black in that corner. It's okay if it's a little bit dark, but I don't want it to be black. I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. Very fall. I'm gonna go ahead and dry this one last time, and then I'll come back. I have my inked panel and it's dry, and now I am going in with just a marker and coloring in just the background. You can see I'm going around all the leaves and the circle in the middle, just to make everything stand out. So most of my background will appear to be brown, just maybe some splotches of the mica stain. It doesn't get covered. All I'm using is this Crayola marker that I had. It's brown, and I just happen to have it in my pen jar. I was going to use the alcohol ink marker, but I was kind of afraid with the mica that it would end up damaging the tip, and those markers are expensive, and I found that this works fine for what I want. It's not 100% coverage, and I'm sure I could find a Sharpie in brown probably somewhere in one of my drawers and do that, but I didn't want it to be completely covered. I didn't want it to be too dark. So I'm just going to go ahead, and you don't need to really watch me color all the background in, and then I'm going to make a card from this. This is 5x7. You can also cut this down. I have one that I did earlier, and I cut it down to an A2 size, but I kind of think it's more dramatic in a big size, and I've been making some larger cards lately, and I think I really like having a lot of real estate to do what I want, and I think it makes for a more dramatic card, but the A2 size also looks good. So I will finish this up, and I'll come back and show you what I've done. Here are my completed cards. Here is the 5x7 card, and the colored in background in brown. I took the sentiments from Serenade of Autumn collection. It's called Serenade Sentiments, and it's the sentiment and the shadow die. And all I did was I cut the shadow from a vellum, and then I just used an alcohol marker and colored it orange, so you can see it, but you can still see the sentiment standing up, because I die cut this 3 times and then glued it on top of the vellum. The other one is the smaller A2 size, and this came out nice too. It has a little bit darker of a background. I didn't put any of the embossing powder on the background. I just used some archival ink, and since it wasn't as dark as I wanted it, I went back with that same marker and I colored it in, but it looked darker. I think because I didn't use any embossing powder. The embossing powder didn't really work the way that I wanted to. I think it was too splotchy in areas because I didn't double stamp it. So you can see how dotty it is where the mica stain did get into these areas. And then I just used a marker and covered it. So a little bit lighter. This one's a little bit dark, a little bit more orange, and I use the same sentiment. So that's it. Those are my 2 cards, and I think they make nice Thanksgiving cards to send to your friends. or maybe even Halloween if you want to do that. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up, make a comment, and subscribe.